The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for December 22nd, 2025. This is episode number 30 of season number 15 and episode number 544 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. And no, folks, this isn't the only episode you get this week. We have another episode with a very, very special guest. You're going to have to wait until the end of this episode to find out who that guest is going to be. Yes, we got a special guest this week. You'll get that on Christmas Eve. That's right. You can listen to us on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or the day after Christmas, just before they go to Binghamton goes to Watertown. Whenever you want to listen to it, you'll be able to listen to it, and it is a really nice Christmas surprise for you. Well, I am your host, Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And Taylor, you know who I'm talking to and who I talked to in the interview, which is pretty cool. And I will say this, the person is in Florida. Right now. That's where the person is that I interviewed. But Taylor, are you ready for Christmas yet? Do you have all your gifts wrapped? Are they underneath the tree? Is everything all set and ready to go?
I have everything that I have in my house wrapped. It is not under the tree because I have cats and they would probably open everything before the next morning. They've already tried destroying the tree a couple of times. I walk out each morning and have to pick up, all the decorations off the tree. It's a lot of fun. My daughter seems to keep throwing surprises at me.
Oh.
Like tonight as I put her to bed, which I did have to threaten I was going to call Santa if she didn't go to bed. Which got her to go to bed real quick. So if you need something to get your kid to go to bed, tell him that you're going to call Santa. But as she climbed up in her bed, she told me that she wanted a Hello Kitty lava lamp as a nightlight. So that's, great information to get 2 days before Christmas.
Absolutely. Well, by the way, I have multiple lava lamps. I do not have a Hello Kitty one.
Well, they did have a Spider-Man one because her brother had a Spider-Man one, but it stopped working. So I guess that should have been my first sign. But it stopped working, recently. It wasn't like, it's been not working for a while now. But yeah, she threw that on me tonight, so that's going to be a fun one to pick up. She told my mom that she wanted roller skates. Never told me. Just never mentioned it to me. And my mom sent me a picture of roller skates, and I was like, "Why'd you get those?" She's like, "Because she told me she wanted them." I was like, "Oh, well, guess at least because I guess she's just been telling everybody different things."
My cats just want more Pounce treats. That's all they want for Christmas. That's all they
My
want.
cat just wants to be held, literally all the time. That's all he wants.
Aww.
You can be in the shower and he wants to be held. He just constantly meows at me.
So, Taylor, the Binghamton Black Bears going into the Christmas break, do you think that there's anything that they really need or wish for on Christmas Day? Because they're 21-2, they're first place, well above beyond anybody else in the league, and especially I think they're 33 points ahead of Port Huron in the Empire Division. Is there anything that they could wish for, do you think?
Probably just to face a different opponent, in all honesty.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I actually asked Gary Ryan to put together a wish list for all the teams. I can tell you right now, he did not pick the schedule for Binghamton. I thought he was going to pick the schedule for Binghamton. He did not, though. So, folks, a little bit later on the show, you'll be able to hear what Gary has picked for each team in the league, including the Motor City Rockers, who should be back next season here in the FPHL. He picked the Athens Rock Lobsters one is a pretty good one. And I think everybody will enjoy that. But yeah, I mean, they've got 61 points. They're all right. It's 22 points. Yeah, they got a 22-point lead on Port Huron, not 33. 22-point lead on Port Huron. 19-2, 884 winning percentage. They're won their last 12 games. I don't think there's much more you can ask for. And I think Saturday night's game, realistically, was probably what we're going to see the roster be for the majority of the rest of the season. I think Emerson Emery or Jacob Shankar or Nick Swain will be your 10th forwards. But if that's what we're going to see the rest of the season, this team is going to break records. They're just going to.
Yeah, which is just so funny because we constantly kept asking, could the team be any better than it was last year? And it seems like they're out there to prove us that they're going to be. Like, it seems like they're doing everything they can to make sure that they're not the same team that they were last year, but they're better.
Yeah, because at this point last year, Taylor, we'd already seen 6 overtime games. We've only seen 2 of those. We've won both of those, but last year they had a couple more losses than they did at this point. Through 21 games, it's just kind of insane that they've actually gotten better than they were last year. And who would have thunk it? But really also that falls on the backs of the fact that they have a 1A and a 1B goaltending tandem. Without a doubt, the best goaltending tandem right now in the FPHL is Connor McAnanama and Dominic Tumay.
Yeah, I was going to joke when you're talking about the wish list that Danbury is going to wish they had a goalie tandem like Binghamton. But I'm sure a lot of teams probably wish that because it's very hard to beat Binghamton in general when you have a great offense, defense, and a good goalie tandem. Because I think Danbury does have a good offense. I know we talked about that on and off the last couple shows.
Yeah.
I do think they have the ability of slowing Binghamton down, but not enough to make a big enough difference in the game. And if you can't get past our offense, defense, and goalies, you're not going to be able to make anything happen.
Right. And if you can stop one line, you got 2 other first lines to kind of contend with. And that's what makes them so hard. And I don't know, maybe Taylor, maybe at the end of the season, they lose another 2 games. And then they're like 52-4, and that'll be better than what they did last year. I guess that's a possibility. I mean, you got a bunch more games against Watertown. Maybe Watertown can squeak out a win, but I really don't know. Danbury has lost 9 straight to us now, or 10 straight? 10? It's just insane that these teams cannot compete against us, even though they can compete against other teams in our division, I
think Watertown's got a slightly better chance than Danbury. I think they give us slightly more competition in certain aspects, especially because a lot of our Watertown games are going to be in Watertown.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like it's tougher to play in Watertown than it is tougher to play in Danbury this year. But I still don't think there really is a match that they can hold to the flame here in Binghamton. Did
you hear what you just said? You said you think that right now it's harder to play in Watertown than it is in Danbury. That's crazy to think that, right? And that's perception from us outside watching the games, right? But it is crazy to think that. I don't know. We saw Garrett Sargis score his first 2 goals. Right. I think a lot of the fans were waiting for that. Now we're just waiting for the first fight. Right. We want to see Garrett drop the gloves and see what he's got. See him kind of take somebody on. Who knows who that will be? It'll be very interesting to see when that happens. Nick Swain has turned into an NHL freak superstar player, scoring one of the craziest goals that I've ever seen in this league. On the same night that Alexander Letkov from Danbury scores a beautiful goal himself, which is so insane that we saw 2 of those kind of just crazy freak goals from 2 different players on either side. And it really did solidify to me, this league is getting better. Now, Jeremy, you've only known really the FPHL. You're a new fan to the game of hockey. You're learning. You absorb things like a sponge. So you are picking up things so super fast and everything. But Jeremy, who you are with, has been watching since the B-Sens days. And I got to imagine for him, even just watching since, the first season through this, he's seen an improvement in the quality of the game and the quality of the players more so than anything else. Because we joke all the time that Jeremy wants to see a guy come in and throw body and, you know, throw the fists and things of that nature. But even he's got to admit that the play has just gotten so much better.
Yeah, it's actually a conversation we had recently because in the uncensored page, there's been quite a few comments I've seen about people think that Binghamton isn't that good because nobody's moving up, or if they do move up, it's just for a weekend or for a game. And I kind of like, it makes me laugh a little bit because if you had talked about this in, 5-6 years ago, I'd probably agree that these guys just aren't moving up because nobody wants them kind of thing, or, whatever you want to say about that. Or you could say Binghamton wasn't good enough. But anymore, I think the amount of talent in this league almost doesn't compare to anything in the SPHL. And I don't even watch the SPHL. I've taken in what everybody says about it, and most of it's not very good. I mean, even this league doesn't think that the SPHL is a step above.
No.
Which I found out from you about the whole inactive versus on loan.
Yeah. Yeah. They consider it, a lateral move. I know that the Binghamton Black Bears and Brant Sherwood, the way he looks at it is that he's not trying to get people to the SPHL. He's trying to get players to go to the ECHL. And having Mac Jansen and Gavin Yates both make their ECHL debuts this year is progress within the perception that other people have of this league now versus where it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the whole point of the conversation that I had with Jeremy about it is you see these comments of people like, oh, well, these guys aren't moving up in Binghamton. And I'm like, half of our roster has. Yeah. They've played in the SP or they've played in the ECHL or they've made a debut in the either one. But I'm like, at the same time, a lot of these guys, they just don't want to leave Binghamton because it's such a nice place to play. Yeah. Because of, our ownership and the leadership and just like all the way down to the fan base. These guys love Binghamton so much that they just don't want to leave.
Well, look at it this
way. And some of the guys do move on and they haven't come back, like Boylard, or I know Mac Lewis left and I don't know if he's still playing. Brendan Stanko, Tim Kim is up. Like, there are players that do move on and don't come back, or we don't see them for a while. Now, so it makes me laugh that people think that with the record we have and the kind of team we have here that they're not good enough to move up.
It's either that they don't understand what's happening here in Binghamton and what's really happening in the FPHL. You got players going up from Monroe to the ECHL, from Athens to the ECHL. It has happened. And there are also players that played in the ECHL, like on Biloxi, a team that's got 4 wins this season, or I'm sorry, 5 wins this season because they do have an overtime win, where a guy played 5 years in the ECHL, but he's playing in Biloxi. And part of that is he can make the same amount of money up in the ECHL that he's making possibly in Biloxi. So what does that tell you? He can come play close to home, right? Because he's a Southern boy who's probably only a couple hours away from where his home is, making the same amount of money versus playing in ECHL and not getting the perks. Maybe he's getting more perks in Biloxi than he would in the ECHL. And what people don't realize is that because the single A hockey and double A hockey are structurally very similar in the sense that there are only 4 or 5 guys on an ECHL team that have an NHL, AHL contract that are playing down there because they were told to go down there and get some serious and some good playing time, right? Otherwise, they're all just self-contractors. Guys just going out looking to, put up drywall or put on a roof, which you do from job to job to job. And that's what the SPHL, the FPHL, and most of the ECHL guys are doing. They're self-contractors trying to go out there and make a team and get and do that one job and whatnot. They're not, the ECHL guys, I know it's affiliated with the NHL, the ECHL is, but when you have 22 guys on the team and only 4 of them have NHL contracts, then they're all the same. So if you go up there to the ECHL and you make $500 a week, when you can make $500 a week in the FPHL and play for Binghamton, why would you go up there? Why would you play there? I don't. So the arguments that people make are just ridiculous. They just don't understand hockey. They don't understand the business of it. You know, players playing here in Binghamton making $500 and win a championship? Duh. It's a freaking no-brainer. They're not going to make it to the NHL. Not, players, 90% of the players that play in the ECHL aren't going to make it to the NHL. So if you can play and win a championship in Athens, Georgia, or in Binghamton, New York, even in the FPHL, then you still have that ring to put on your shelf to show your kids and show your grandkids 20 to 30 years from now. So it's just people not understanding the business side of the FPHL, the SPHL, and the ECHL. I didn't mean to get riled up. It's Christmas time. I should be happy. I should be feeling the juice, but it really does come down to learn and understand the business of the game. And a lot of these people don't. And in part, it cracks me up. It's just jealousy. You're just jealous that you don't have Brant Sherwood organizing and structuring your team. So you think, oh, all these things. Well, no, it's not the case. More players.
Well, even if you didn't understand any part of the business side of it, it's a simple fact of, do you want to I'll use Gavin Yates as an example.
Sure.
He went to play with Adirondack.
Yeah.
They're not very good right now, and they lost both of their games that he played, and he did manage to get a point with an assist.
Yeah.
But you went from playing on a team that you're going to rack a bunch of points a night, probably, because that's what these guys seem to do game in and game out.
Yeah.
Where you're going to be a first or second line man, which honestly, all of our lines could be first line guys.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go maybe play on a team and have maybe one or two shifts and maybe play this game and maybe play that game. Why would you leave where you're pretty much treated like a celebrity here in Binghamton? Because that's what these fans do, is they treat these guys like celebrities, to go and make, to me, it was insane. And I know it was a Wednesday game, but even Jeremy was like, the 50-50 was $106.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if our arena looks empty, it's over 1,000.
Yeah.
It's been like over 1,500 most nights.
Kyle Steffen said it perfectly to me. Playing in Binghamton makes a player at this level feel like they're playing in the NHL. That's what the fans do. So if you don't understand, and I don't mean you, Taylor, I mean the people that make these comments that just don't understand the fan base here. We're not talking about like Toledo, Ohio. We're talking about Binghamton, New York, one of the top 5 minor pro hockey cities for the past 50 years. We are one of the top cities. Even if we are single A right now, we've also was the team that single-handedly changed single A hockey, because we were the most successful city to go into single A hockey, and we've only improved this league. Now, of course, a big part of that is Andreas and the way he runs the organization, Brant Sherwood, how he brings all these players and recruiting and scouting, and at some point, that's going to go away, and Brant's going to leave. And we're all going to have to come to the conclusion of what is going to be next. And that's going to be hard for Binghamton. But for people to say, oh, they're not that good because they're not getting called up and staying up. Well, they don't need to. It's not like they're going to go to the AHL. And if they went to the AHL and they started making $100,000 a year as the minimum salary, great for the player. But none of these guys are going to do that immediately. This is a progress of improvements that this league is starting to go through. And a big part of that is because of Binghamton, New York. I can get really riled up about this, but I think we should move on.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about Austin D'Orazio and the one thing that is still the biggest problem in this league. Binghamton Black Bears, Austin D'Orazio suspended. Mr. D'Orazio, this is, by the way, the write-up from the Department of Safety, Dave Jackson. Mr. D'Orazio elbowed his opponent in the head, causing injury. I do not believe that he intentionally hit and injured his opponent, but I believe that he took a poor angle of approach to make a check, and when he realized that he was going to beat and miss the opponent, he reached with his elbow in a careless, reckless, and dangerous manner. He got no body. It was all head. This elbowing designation is interchangeable with a legal check to the head. His opponent stayed down for a while, played one more shift, and then did not return to the game. Mr. D'Orazio is suspended for 2 games. Now, there's a note here on 12/16/2025. Binghamton appealed the suspension, which they should have done. Appeal result. Binghamton presented a strong case that Mr. D'Orazio did not seriously injure his opponent, who continued to play at least 5 more shifts over a 9-minute period and deliver body checks. Historical precedents on major penalties without an obvious injury have been 1-game suspensions for the first-time offenders. There have been 8 majors and 1-game misconduct without injury over the past 2 seasons, where each player received a 1-game suspension. It's important to note that a match penalty was not assessed on this play, and the officials did not feel that it was an intentional attempt to injure. I take a measure of responsibility. This is Dave Jackson speaking still. I take a measure of responsibility for my original assessment as I fast forwarded through the rest of the period and did not notice that the player continued to skate a regular shift. In order to remain consistent and transparent, I am reducing his 2-game suspension to 1 game. I'll let you speak, because I don't know if my blood pressure will explode if I kind of comment on this. So your thoughts on this, Taylor?
I mean, aside from the hit itself, because I had my original opinion about it, which I had spoke to you about when it happened.
Yes.
That they basically, if the 2 games, because they're basically saying that what D'Orazio did and what Froloff did were the same to receive the 2 games. And I originally said if they had simply come out and just said he hit the player in the head, it's 2 games.
Regardless of...
People probably wouldn't bat an eye about it.
Sure. Okay.
If that was the assessment, was you hit him in the head, you get 2 games no matter what.
Right.
But for you to, not you, obviously.
No.
But for them to sit down and be like, he only played 1 more shift and did not return to the game. And then in the appeal, you talk that you fast forwarded through the rest of the game.
Or the period. Yeah, the rest of the period.
That makes you sound ridiculous, that you're giving suspensions, but you're not actually paying attention to the game to notice if it should be deserving of less or more than what you're giving. You're just kind of like, oh, well, that happened. I'm not going to pay attention to anything else. Here's 2 games.
Here's the thing that cracks me up about this. The Binghamton Black Bears as an organization, if they want to submit an appeal, have to pay the FPHL to submit the appeal. Now, I don't know if they get their money back when the appeal is, reduces games at all. But by golly, you shouldn't have to appeal something like that, because for the simple fact of the matter is, like, okay, fine, give them a game. If a major in a game misconduct is the result is a 1-game suspension, okay, fine, give them that. Maybe the Black Bears would have just let it go, not appeal that. But you go 2 games, and you just had 4 weeks before that a 2-handed slash with a stick, or 2-handed cross check to the stick to the face, and you give them the same amount. To me, it's so inconsistent. The consistency of the penalties handed out, and I know that the most argued thing in all of hockey in the professional levels is suspensions. Nobody doing that job is liked. Like nobody loves you. You're not getting roses on Christmas Day. Dave Jackson is probably just happy that nobody's talking about him on Christmas Day. That's really what it comes down to. And I get that it's a thankless job, but my God, you can't put that in your assessment. Oh, by the way, I didn't watch really. I didn't notice him out there, and the team has to put that in there. They have to tell you that. It's like, that's so incompetent. Like, if I did that in my regular job, I'd be fired. You know what I mean? It'd be like you walking in and going, yeah, we billed you for this beer, but we didn't give it to you. So sorry, too bad. Have a nice day. You're going to be fired for that, right?
Or it would be like you and I fast forwarding the entire game and then talking about it the next day.
Yeah. Well, they scored 5 goals, so they must have been the best team on the ice, right? I mean, yeah, it's so stupid. Really, really stupid.
Yeah, I think there needs to be something. I
It's
I
got
don't
to
even know how
change.
you would go about it because
It's got to change.
yeah, I mean the Durazio thing, it happened. It was on a play. Puck was moving on the ice, and the Frolov thing was
The
well
stoppage.
after the play.
Right.
So that already is a huge difference, in my opinion. But I give him some credit to say he takes responsibility because he fast forwarded through the rest of the period. But that just I feel like it makes everybody else more frustrated because now you're literally telling everybody that you just didn't pay attention.
Now, obviously, there's only been really 2 instances. Of course, Danbury is involved in both of them, in Binghamton, obviously. But, talking to Gary Ryan, I mean, his wish list for PD is better officiating. So we're not the only team that has dealt with like poor officiating. But then when you have the Department of Safety who can give more than like 2 minutes to look at a play, and actually kind of break it down because you have years of experience as an NHL ref, and then you don't use that technology and the ability to do so, and you just nilly-willy. To me, it shows bias, it shows incompetence, it shows negligence, and honestly, you shouldn't have a job anymore, Dave Jackson. I'll say that out loud. I don't care who hears it, right? Because I know some people from the league listen. He shouldn't have this freaking job. If he can't do the job properly here, then he shouldn't have it. Why? Because of integrity for the game, guys. That's what it comes down to. Integrity. Does he have integrity? No, he doesn't. I don't give a shit. You can say whatever you want after the fact. After someone proves to you that you're dead wrong. Oh, the sky is gray. No, it's not. It's blue. Oh, no, it's gray. Oh, wait, look up. No, it's still gray. No, you're an idiot. You're a friggin' idiot, and you shouldn't be doing the job if that's how you're going to do the job. Because nobody, none of these players that work their asses off, I don't care what team they play for, they don't deserve this. And that's what you did. So I think it's time to move on.
Well, I mean, I think that if it's too hard for him to pay attention to the amount of suspensions that he's got to look at, that he can't watch, the rest of a period to make an appropriate suspension for somebody, that you do have to get better officiating, because I'm pretty sure if you had the better officials, which I understand through the entire league that everybody has issues with it, better officiating would mean a lot less suspensions. Because if refs were making proper calls, I bet 90% of your suspensions would go away.
Yeah.
Because the suspensions happened because something wasn't called on the ice and the players took it into their own hands.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, I would say 90% of the time, if not more.
Absolutely. All right, let's start breaking down these games. Let's start with Friday's game.
Black Bears defeat Danbury 4-2 in Binghamton on Friday night, December 19th, 2025, Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, Game 22 of the season, Danbury Hat tricks at Binghamton Black Bears. First period, the Black Bears get on the score sheet first with a Zach Sirota's 4th goal of the season, just 1:28 into the opening period. With the hat tricks, Alexander Lykoff in the penalty box for hooking, CJ Stubbs scored his 14th goal of the season, making this a 2-0, just 10-11 into the game.
All right. Now, no Gavin Yates. He was called up to the ECHL. He played Wednesday night and Friday night. I was trying to remember my days of the week now. I'm still a little peeved. But he was called up to the ECHL, and Austin Durazio was out, obviously, for suspension. Now, in the latter stages of the first period, at the 15:44 mark, Ivan Bondarenko was tagged for a high-sticking call. Although it looked like a Danbury defender high-sticked his own teammate, which disallowed a Jesse Anderson goal just a few seconds later. Was this a good call by the referees?
Absolutely not.
So this happened very, very much in front of you and Jeremy there.
Yeah, I had to listen to that for quite a while. He's got an eagle eye for things. Like I could be watching something entirely different and he's, talking about something else that's happening on the ice. He very much instantly called that, and he lost his mind when they gave Ivan the penalty for it.
Yeah.
And then I went back through on the YouTube game and watched it back, and he was like, "That's not even his stick," and he was I was still freaking out.
So Yvonne's stick is down on the ice, and then you can see the player to the left of him start to lift his stick, and his stick comes up and hits his own player. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell because I'm pretty sure the Danbury stick is completely black, and I don't think Ivan's is.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he's got tape on the bottom of his, which would be a pretty easy indicator to know that it wasn't his stick.
Yeah.
But in an instant like that, like, Jesse Anderson did score and then they disallowed it. But what if that goal had made, all the difference in the game?
Yeah.
I understand that, if Brandt wanted to, he could have challenged it. But that could have gone either way. The refs could have looked at it and went, yeah, no, and just still disallowed it. And then we'd, be sitting a guy in the box for delay a game. But it's something like that where that could have made a huge difference in the game. Like maybe Jesse could have had the last goal of the game or the winning goal of the game, whichever it could have been. So that is definitely a rough call. And I felt really bad for Ivan. Because just the look on his face, he looks so sad sometimes. And it just like, he looked at the ref like, how? And then he's sitting in the box and he just looked so sad. It made I was upset for him.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Obviously, it was definitely a missed call. I think the reason why you don't challenge that, and I can understand where Brandt's coming from. If you lose the challenge, you then have Ivan Bondarenko in there and then somebody else, right? Because of the delay of game for losing the challenge, you then give them a 5-on-3. And that's the last thing you want to do at that point. So it's almost like you trade the goal for potentially giving up a 5-on-3. Unfortunately for Jesse Anderson, which means that Jesse Anderson, because he does score in the next game on Saturday night, has, had basically scored 2 goals that last weekend, which is good on him because, we're going to get scoring from everywhere at this point, the way it looks like it. And it was good to see Jesse get 2 in the back of the net, even though 1 did not count because of some reason.
Yeah, some reason that confused everybody but the ref, I guess.
Any other thoughts about the first period?
No, I think honestly it's just that the Bondarenko penalty, I think kind of left a mark on everybody. I mean, the game was kind of blah, I feel like overall, but definitely the Bondarenko thing started, I think, fans getting irritated with just the officiating.
And this was Dominic Tomei's start as well, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, the people that sit behind me call him CMAC 2.0.
Oh boy! Wow. All right. Power play opportunities.
So if you really wanted to know how our goalie tandem is, we've got CMAC and CMAC 2.0 according to the guys that sit behind me.
That's funny. All right. Power play opportunities. Binghamton 1 for 1. Danbury was 0 for 3. Shots on goal. Binghamton 9 and Danbury 8. Let's go into the second period.
The Black Bears take a 3-0 lead with a goal from the captain, Tyson Kirkby, who scored his 6th goal of the season, just 4 away into the second period. The Hat Tricks get on the scoreboard with a Johnny Ruiz goal, 9:25 into the middle period. Ruiz then scored the Hat Tricks' next goal just under 4 minutes later, tightening the game to 3-2.
Okay, so after 2 periods of play, the players skate off the ice. And first, give me your thoughts on it's now 3-2. Right? Is there any doubt creeping into the fans' minds at this point with Danbury scoring the last 2 goals before the period ends?
I don't think so, at least not in my opinion. I know it's definitely like a bummer because, you always want your team to just kind of go out there and just Saturday's game. Yeah. But Danbury has had a theme of getting mostly 3 goals at Binghamton. And especially because they're coming from Ruiz, I don't think it really it didn't shock me any. Ruiz is probably the best person on their team. I know that I think Legoff has the most points. Yeah. But I think Ruiz is probably the most skilled on their team as far as overall. But I don't think there was any kind of doubt, especially nothing seemed to be going rough. We weren't playing that rough. Danbury wasn't playing that rough. So it didn't seem like there was a lot of tension happening. Sure. At least in my opinion. There was, penalties here and there and kind of going shots for shots, but it didn't seem like it was just I don't know. It didn't seem like it was that tough of a game.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. Only one penalty in the period. Jackson Lergo holding call at the 6:36 mark of the third period. Power play opportunities. Binghamton went 0 for 1 on the Lergo penalty for the holding, and Danbury did not have an opportunity. And actually, that was the last penalty of the game. There's not another penalty after the 6:36 mark of the third period of the second period. Sorry. Shots on goal, Binghamton 12, Danbury 12. Totals were Binghamton 21 and Danbury 20.
Third period with the Hat Tricks netminder Kyle Pettin pulled for an extra attacker. CJ Stubbs scores the Black Bears' fourth goal, the insurance goal, with 43 seconds left to go in the game, securing the Black Bears' 20th win of the season and 11th win in a row.
See, it's like CJ Stubbs could never just have a random goal that doesn't mean something, right? It's like it's either shorthanded, a game winner. Let's see here, a power play goal. Oh, wait a second here. He's had a shootout goal this year, and now he's had an insurance goal. I have to remember, I don't think he's had an empty netter yet. So when he gets that, the bingo card is complete, right? And he gets the empty netter. The bingo card is complete because he's had a hat trick. So he's had a hat trick goal. CJ, boy, you're too good for us. Let's see here. No penalties in the third period at all. A quiet period. This was the 8th win in of the season against the Hat Tricks, 14th straight going back to last season when the Black Bears lost on November 23rd, 2024. This was the 11th victory in a row for the Black Bears. Power play opportunities 0 for 0 for both teams, and shots on goal in the third period. Binghamton 13, Danbury 10. Totals Binghamton 34 and Danbury 30. I will say this, right? Sure, you have a game like Friday versus a game like Saturday where everybody was firing on all cylinders and the Black Bears win 11-3. But one of the things that Brant Sherwood says he's very proud of his team and very happy about his team is that they just find a way to win. They always find that way to win. And sure, they have 2 losses this year. But, I mean, listen, when you win 84% of your games, that's pretty impressive. And but they just keep finding ways to win.
Yeah, that's why, it didn't surprise me, with the Ruiz getting 2 goals in the second period, that it was going to be, like biting your nails kind of situation. Even when they pulled the goalie, I wasn't really any kind of worry in my mind. Just the third period, I don't know. It just seemed, I don't want to say it was like rough because it obviously wasn't. There was no penalties of any kind, but it just seemed like it was lacking, I guess. And I mean, Saturday definitely made up for any kind of lack you felt in Friday's game.
Right.
I know that there was a couple comments made from people saying, if you missed Friday's game, at least you didn't miss Saturday's game. But it's still a good game. And I think maybe it's just because, Danbury did a pretty good job of matching the shots on goal, which is something that most teams don't really have the ability of doing against Binghamton. Usually it's like they might have 20 shots compared to like our 60. So this was a lot closer in shots, which is why I think Danbury does have a good offense. But yeah, Danbury just doesn't really seem to have anything for us. And I think the fans are starting to feel that.
Yeah, it's true. And by the way, I just screwed up. I said he didn't have an empty net goal, and that's what he just scored there. So he's pretty much had every type of goal there is. All right, Taylor, let's wrap this one up in a bow, so we can go to our interview and then come back and really talk about the meat and potatoes of the Saturday's game.
Now that you just said that, Stubbs is going to score in Michigan. That's what's going to happen next.
Oh, he's going to score in Michigan. Oh, that would be great.
Black Bears defeat Hat Tricks. Stubbs scores 4-2. CJ Stubbs scored his 14th and 15th goals of the season, assisted on another for a 3-point night. Tyson Kirkby scored his 6th goal of the season, which ended up being the game winner. Zach Sirota scored his 4th goal of the season. Ivan Bondarenko assisted on 3 goals for a 3-point night. Mac Jansen scored on 2 goals for a 2-point night. Dominic Tomei saved 28 of 30 shots, earning his 8th win and improving his record to 8-1-0. The Black Bears winning streaks improves to 11 straight, and the Black Bears improved to 18-2-0 with 58 points and remain atop the Empire Division.
Yeah, I think Mac Jansen, I wrote that wrong. He didn't score 2 goals. He assisted on 2. All right. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, I tasked Gary Ryan to go out and create a Christmas wish list for each team in the league. And he's going to give you that next, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buchinski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. I'm here with the Fed League Flashes, Gary Ryan, and Gary is going to give us a little bit of a holiday cheer, a holiday spin to this appearance here on the Power Play Post Show, as he's going to help us grant wishes or, give us the wish list for each FPHL team, including the Motor City Rockers. That means 15 wishes are going to be granted, or we hope we could grant these wishes if we could. This is all going to be for fun and hopefully a very positive spin and maybe even an emotional one here and there as well. Gary, welcome back to the show. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you and your family and everybody.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone listening, and hope you have a wonderful and safe holiday season.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, Gary, before we get into the wish list, let me pick your brain a little bit. Athens just lost their third game this past weekend of the season. It seems like Athens is maybe the one team, maybe Monroe could kind of factor into that as well as being one of the top teams in the league along with the Binghamton Black Bears. Give us your assessment of Athens and Monroe at this point in the season. Are they close to Binghamton in a sense?
Well, I think so. We had the benefit of seeing Athens, firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think we saw that, I think if we went head to head with them in the finals, I think it would be a very competitive series. Monroe, of course, we don't have the benefit of seeing.
No,
but I've watched a lot of them, and they are tough. Mm-hmm. They are very, very, very good. Of course, they got Aggie now, so that's a plus for them. But
wouldn't that be a strange little factor if they made it to the finals? Binghamton's in the finals, and Jay Krupp says, "Hey, let's start Aggie. Why not? Binghamton versus Binghamton in that sense. That would be a very interesting factor to that."
Absolutely. Monroe is very similar to us in that they were kind of handed a weird schedule. And, they play a lot of games against Baton Rouge and a lot of games against Biloxi, teams that aren't doing too well.
Sure.
So people could argue, well, they're padding their stats because they can beat these guys. Well, you could say the same thing about us with Danbury and Watertown. So it all boils down to both Monroe and Binghamton are winning the games that they are supposed to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it'll be very interesting. And, as you have mentioned a couple times now, Twin Cities on a 3-game winning streak, and they're starting to turn things around. And you think that, going into the mid of January, they're going to be biting for one of those top 3 spots. So that'll be very interesting as well.
Yep. It's definitely very crowded in the middle of the pack, so to speak, for both divisions, really. There's a lot of jostling of positions going on, and I think it's going to still think it's going to be about another 10-15 games before we really get a good idea as far as where everybody stacks up.
Before we get into the wish list, one of the last things I wanted to kind of just touch base with you on a little bit as well is attendance. Are we still looking positive attendance-wise over last year?
Yes. League-wide, we are still on pace for the million.
Wow.
What was it? Saturday, I sat down and figured some stuff out and was like, well, it looks like at this pace, we'd be maybe like 25,000 over a million.
Wow.
So, that's great. There's 5 teams right now that are on pace for drawing 100,000 fans each.
Yeah, that's PD, Athens, Monroe, Binghamton, Topeka, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so things are looking good, and even the teams that they don't have real large arenas like Danbury and Watertown, they're drawing a little bit better this year so far than they were last year.
Yeah, Danbury's over 2,000 on average, and they usually sit around the 1900 mark, so they're up a little bit as well. That's great.
Yep. So I think things are definitely looking good.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. All right. I don't know how you have your list. Is it alphabetically? Is it by division? How do you have it set up?
Well, I kind of did it alphabetically, only backwards.
Oh my God!
Like starting with Watertown, and I want to save Athens for last, and there's a reason for that.
Absolutely. So let's start off with Watertown. The Watertown Wolves. These are the 3-time champions, right, of the FPHL, and they've been one of the longest running members of the FPHL. What wish list would you have? What wish would you have if you could grant a wish right now? Holiday season, thinking, what would you give the Watertown Wolves?
Increased bandwidth for their Wi-Fi.
Oh, yes. This has been a battle for them for a long time.
So that away broadcasters can come in and actually do the broadcast live.
Yeah, it's something that Watertown has battled for a long time, and and what fans probably don't understand, and I think there's a frustration within the league about this, is that it costs money to rewire and re-network. I mean, Binghamton has the luxury that Broome County handles all that. Sometimes it can be a pain in the butt, and sometimes teams kind of, argue back and forth a little bit with Broome County. But eventually they get to where they need to get to. It's not so easy in sometimes the other arenas to get those types of things done because of sometimes financial and logistical things.
Exactly. We're in an advantage there. We have funding from the county.
Yeah.
That's a much larger tax base. Watertown is municipal, so and it's a small city.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It is tough.
All right. So I would imagine if you're going backwards alphabetically, that means Twin City would be next.
Yep.
Yes.
And I know this just mainly from talking with a lot of the fans. I have a pretty good rapport with a large percentage of the Thunderbirds fans.
Okay.
And they would love just to be able to get all the old players back from their history. They'd love to have a team of 50 players, and including all the old players like Keplinger and Dawson and Panachik and Kennedy, and even bringing back Andre Nietzsche as coach and stuff like that. They would love to be able to just have all those guys back there, because one thing about Carolina with the fan base, I think they're more so than a lot of other teams. They develop a very, very close relationship with those players.
Yeah.
So it's we feel it here in Binghamton. The players, they become part of our family. Same in Carolina. They really they just love everyone that puts on a Thunderbird sweater.
There's a relationship that happens between the fans and the players that is very hard. So are you saying that they kind of wish for like an alumni game where they come back and they play that game? I
think they would really like that. Yeah,
that's
definitely
pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so if we go from Twin City, probably Topeka would be number 3.
Yep. You're doing all right so far.
Yeah, well, it's that Tioga Center math or the alphabetical English, whatever you want to call it, is paying off right now. Going backwards, you threw me on a loop on that one. But Topeka, what would you wish for them? They're a brand new team, just came into the league. Their attendance has been good, so what would you wish for them?
Star Trek transporter technology for them.
Ooh.
So that they don't have to, they don't have to spend all that time and money with bus travel.
Oh, that's tough.
It's really rough. I mean, they're doing all right so far, but I'm sure if they could just step onto a transporter pad and beam to Baton Rouge or to Indiana or wherever they're playing, I'm sure they would love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I would love transporter technology as well. To me, as a Trekkie, I would absolutely love that. And honestly, hopefully, the league, expands in a responsible way. I will say it that way because, we're trying to be positive on this edition of the Gary Ryan visit here on the Power Play Post Show. But it'd be nice if, there was a couple more closer teams to Topeka. And I can completely understand why you'd want that, because when players are on buses for 12 hours, 15 hours at a time, it's just, you're not practicing. You're not on ice. You're in a bus. It's cramped up, and it's just not good for that. But, hey, listen, exactly. they're in third place in the Empire Division, so they're doing okay. So
yeah, they are.
Next on the list, I think we would go to MNOP. PD.
Port
Huron. You're right. Port Huron.
Yeah, and you, I don't know if you have your little button there, but if Port Huron, I think their biggest wish would be to be able to fit a few more guys under their salary cap.
I got that for you. I got that right here for you.
They found a way to fit all those guys in the salary cap, which I'm impressed with. It's a great job by them.
I love Chris Paul. Can I just say that he is my favorite person outside of Binghamton in this league, because if anything, he can sell it. And that's what you need, is you need somebody to be a little bit of WWE, a little bit of PT Barnum, a little bit of Gordie Howe, right? And I just feel like he's that guy. And so I love the quotes. I love that he talks after every single game, no matter what, right? Like go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the fact that Port Huron prioritizes kind of a post-game setup.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if they win or lose.
Yes.
They're going to give you a complete look at, not just the game, but, the aftermath and, just kind of weighing everything and seeing, how did we do? What do we need to work on?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. It's great.
And so your wish for them would be to be able to fit a few more guys underneath that salary cap. I love it.
There you go.
It's awesome. All right, let's move off to PD. The PD Ice Cats, brand new. Right now, I think they're sitting in fifth place in the Continental Division, 7-11-3, I believe it is, with 24 points. Not a horrible start for a brand new team.
No. And I do have to say this about PD. One thing I have been really impressed with is, as each game passes, their attendance is more every game.
Good.
It's been constantly increasing since the beginning of the year. So they just had a crowd of over 4,000 this last week. So, I thought that's great. The fans are loving it. They're really supportive of the guys.
Mm-hmm. So what's your wish for them? Because I know they just got brand new lights. They can see the ice a little bit better now. And they can see that, oh, wait, we're watching hockey. That's right. That's what we're watching. Yep. Scott Brand, I love you. So please don't take this badly at all. This is all in fun and jest and everything. But what's your wish for PD?
I think I lost you a little bit.
You're back. So what's your wish for PD?
Okay. It's what they really wish for. And I know I'm trying not to make it too serious, but this is the number one wish for PD: better officiating. Unfortunately, they have been victimized more than any other team by some inconsistent officiating. And
Yeah.
I got to give it to the fans because, they've said their piece, and they've said in much more diplomatic methods, they've actually, the referees suck, but we love our guys. We love that we have hockey. So, the fans are dedicated. They're loving it. They're just enjoying having hockey.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so better officiating, which I think is a wish for the whole FPHL. Let's be honest. Let's grant that to the whole FPHL. Well, that would take us to Monroe, Louisiana, and the Monroe Moccasins, second place right now in the Continental Division with 49 points, only 1 point behind the Athens Rock Lobsters. What's your wish for Monroe?
New leak-proof roof for the Monroe Civic Center, because it was interesting. I was reading some comments on their fan pages today, and everyone has said, this arena wasn't even used at all for several years, and then all of a sudden, bam! Now we got a hockey team, and it forced the city to play catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
Monroe's got a great setup. They've done what they could to restore everything and get everything in order, but there's still some things that, including the roof, that need to be tweaked a little bit to make things even nicer. So, but they would definitely appreciate a leak-proof roof.
All right. So now we have to go down to the very cold confines of the Danbury Ice Arena. What would be your wish for the Danbury Hat Tricks?
Yeah. Okay. We'll go there, and then we'll kind of come back. Danbury, they want about 10 Johnny Ruiz clones.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's
Johnny Ruiz. He's the epitome of the kind of guy that you want out on the ice, that you want representing your team and the league.
Yes.
Johnny has always been just one of the most, I guess you could say, professionals in the league. He has everybody's respect from around the league. I think if Danbury had like 10 of them out in the ice at the same time, they would be feeling pretty good about things.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I skipped the Indiana Sentinels, and I do apologize to Everett Thompson, good friend here of the Power Play Post Show. I did not mean to skip over Indiana. What is their wish that you would hope for them?
We got to go back one more after Indiana as well, but Motor City.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we're including Motor City into this. I do apologize. Well, let's do Indiana, and then we'll do Motor City.
Yeah. Indiana, and I think this is also another wish that would go through the whole league. Raul Sharma being back.
Oh boy, here we go.
He might not be the best goaltender, but he is probably the most beloved person in the league.
Yeah.
He just exudes joy and positivity, and that's really contagious, and everybody's taken notice of it. Remember when Indiana, when they came into the arena and everybody started chanting, "We want Sharma, we want Sharma," so and that wasn't meant as like a chirp. They really wanted him out on the ice.
Yeah.
So Indiana, they would like him back too, I think. But
I think what Sharma is an ambassador of the game. I think he's somebody that you could run out there and talk to fans, and the smile on his face is just infectious, and I can completely understand that. All right, so I skipped Motor City, forgot. Doing this whole backwards alphabetical thing was really a trip for me, trip up for me. So I appreciate that, Gary, but let's talk a little bit about Motor City, because we're told that they're coming back, but what's your wish for them?
Right. Well, that would be a ready-made, state-of-the-art arena that they could move into immediately and say, "Yep, we got our barn. We're back next year."
Yeah.
We're still waiting for an update from them. We were hoping to hear something last month as far as new arena. I'm not sure if they're still having difficulties finding a place or where things are. Unfortunately, I don't know at this point. But that would be my wish, and I think Motor City's wish too is, poof, let's have a new building, and there they go.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, now we have to go to the woods of Virginia and the Blue Ridge Bobcats.
Yep.
What is
this one? I actually, this was the one that I struggled with, because it's like, so I actually sent a message to several Blue Ridge fans and said, let me know, what was the one thing that you guys want? And the answer was a Jumbotron. Apparently there had been mention of it this last off season. We're working towards getting that. And we haven't seen it yet, but they would love to have something like what we have at the arena.
Yeah, because it doesn't need to be huge. Right, like the one in Elmira. Okay, so fans, if you don't know, the one in Elmira is bigger than the one in Binghamton. All right. It actually has a couple different rings on the top and on the bottom of what you would consider the Binghamton Jumbotron or, scoreboard. Right. And it's actually bigger than the one in Binghamton. I think the one in Binghamton, the size of the one in Binghamton, because of the size of the barn in Blue Ridge, that's the perfect size for that. And I think that would be an awesome addition. Listen, what they did with the seating is phenomenal there. Obviously, they had to make some, structural changes after last season, but those type of things are only going to just improve the game experience for the players and the fan experience for the fans, that type of stuff. And I think that's a great wish for them. And I'm glad you reached out to some of the fans there, because they know when you walk in there, what do you need in here? Because this place was just redone. Yeah. And obviously probably not a 1-year plan, but a multi-year plan to obviously make improvements there. I remember when Binghamton went from those side video boards to the one in the center. We had the scoreboard, the old classic scoreboard, for so long, and then they put video boards in the corner, and they were okay. I mean, they gave you a little bit of what you wanted, but then boom, when we got the state-of-the-art one, it was like the best thing, and I bet you the fans in Blue Ridge would really love that.
Yep, absolutely. And I agree. I think, like about the size of what you have in Binghamton, that would definitely be perfect. Yeah. The advantage that Blue Ridge has is, the lease agreement is still for another 8 seasons.
Yeah, wow.
So so they've got plenty of time to make improvements or upgrades to the arena.
My alphabetical skills are horrible because we skipped Columbus. Let's go to Columbus. What do they need done there in Columbus that they would really love right now?
Okay. I'm gonna just preface this by saying, this is a little bit of a jest type of thing, but I think you got to remember Brant was part of the club back in 2019 or 2020-21 rather. I think what Columbus would really like is a real Commissioner's Cup, not just the Ignite Cup.
Gotcha. Are you picking fun at the poor Columbus Ignite Club championship run?
I'm
Brant's
not the only one.
Brant's going to listen to this, and there's a lot of players on the Binghamton team that were on that team.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
A little bit of a dig on the Binghamton guys. Wow. I love it.
That's something that we're going to have to sit down and ask him sometime is like, okay, which one meant more, lifting that first Binghamton Cup or the Ignite Cup? I think we know what answer he'll give.
Oh yeah, probably. All right, so we go back into the B's, and I think N would come before L. So let's talk about the Binghamton Black Bears. I mean, they seem to have it all right now. They're 19-2, 61 points, first place, two-time defending Commissioner's Cup champion. What could the fans or the team or anybody need that you could put on a wish list for?
Well, I think the team in whole would appreciate this. I know Brooksy would really appreciate this. Our own free streaming service. An independent free streaming service.
Yeah. You mean like one that is just for the Binghamton Black Bears, right?
Exactly.
That would be
And
cool.
one that you don't end up getting
cut off,
sent to YouTube prison.
Yeah, or YouTube jail like they do in Facebook.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that is there's a cost to it, of course, and it's so hard to make up that cost when doing that. It's why it's so difficult. I think YouTube is such a juggernaut, and then they just someone looks at the numbers at some point and says, well, we need to squeeze it here, we need to squeeze this here, we need to squeeze this here, and some YouTube channels doing the same thing that they have been doing for 3 or 4 years, making money off of it and everything, all of a sudden see a drop of 40%. And that's because YouTube changed something in their, the way they do things. And it's very difficult. And I think, you're right. Probably in the last 2.5 years, the one thing that I thought the wish list would be a more diverse schedule, but I see where you went there. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't say anything about the schedule. Well, that again is just, I think that's a league-wide thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. So let's go to Biloxi now.
Yep. We're down to 3 teams left. Okay. So Biloxi, I think their wish list, their biggest wish would be for Nicholas Lidstrom to come out of retirement and play for the Breakers. They need that world-class defenseman.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So,
that's a good.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that to pick on them, but unfortunately, right now their defense, as far as goals allowed, is 14th in the league. So I know that. In all seriousness, regardless of whether it was Nicholas Lidstrom or somebody else, that they would really appreciate as a top-notch stay-at-home defenseman.
How many points on the roster would Nicholas Lidstrom count towards? I'm kind of curious about that.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I think Biloxi would probably improve their goal production by 4 or 5 goals per game. Plus, they'd be giving up less, as well. So
I know we're doing Athens last. Does that make Baton Rouge last?
Yeah,
or second to last. Okay,
well,
so let's go.
Yeah.
So let's go to the Bayou State and Baton Rouge.
There you go. And I'm kind of borrowing the idea from Biloxi here. They a player of upper echelon quality. They could use Alex Ovechkin to play a few games for them, just to get some offense going. The team is doing pretty good. The fans are very supportive, but they all recognize the team needs more offense.
Yeah, because defensively, I mean, they're not horrible. I mean, even Biloxi's given up a ton more goals than they have, and even Indiana's given up more goals. But when you look at it, I mean, they've only scored 47 goals in 19 games.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're barely squeaking over that 2.2 goals per game, and they could probably really use some scoring help.
Yeah.
Now.
I was just going to say, I feel bad for them because those guys are really close. Like the team, all the players, they're a very close-knit group, and they work really hard, and they work hard together. They play a great a 5-man game, but it's just not translating into wins because they need that goal scorer.
No, they certainly do. Our last team is the Athens Rock Lobsters. And I know that when we were putting this together, or I asked you to put this together, you asked me about this one, if it was going to be bad or not. And I'm like, no, this is the Christmas time. This is something that maybe every once in a while should be talked about and should be brought up. Why don't you give the wish for the Athens Rock Lobsters and let the fans hear this one?
I think the thing that Athens, the fans, the team, and the rest of the league would love most for Athens, and I mean this with all sincerity, is a time machine so they could have some more time with Orca Weisblatt, because he was such a heart and soul guy. The team is obviously very talented, with and without him, but just the heart and the passion he brought to the game. I know Athens deeply misses him, and I do too. I miss seeing him out in the ice. Yeah,
and just the whole family. It's a hockey family, with his brothers playing. It's just one of those things where it's sad, but this is Christmas time, and sometimes you think about those types of things and those people who may have passed away, and sometimes very too soon, and it was definitely that way for Orca. So Athens, like Binghamton, has a great team. They're playing very, very good. They're in a brand new arena. Trust me, pretty much everybody would love to have that arena in their city. I wouldn't doubt that at all. So I think this is a good one. I think this is one. It's a little heavy, yes, but it's actually the perfect one for us to leave on, which is, if we could have any more time with players. I mean, we just had a player, Justin Thompson in the SPHL, who had a very scary accident, who had to go through surgeries. And so sometimes I think fans, you get riled up and during the games and you're yelling at the opposing team, and, you don't like maybe a big hit or stuff. But you know what? I think everybody could probably just take a moment, tell your loved ones you love them, give them an extra hug, because you kind of never know. You never know when something might happen. And, Christmas time is one of those times, and we should do this every single day, but Christmas time is one of those days where we really start to think about it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So, I talked to several people, after that accident happened, and the heartbreak, you could feel it. Just even in a text, you could feel just how deep that really hurt a lot of people. Yeah, just knowing he was gone. So
it's a good wish,
and we do see. Especially at this level, hockey really is family. Yeah. And so I know I appreciate everyone that I've gotten to know and talk to and get to know. And, they've become my hockey family, and I hold them very close to my heart. And I know that Athens has done the same with the Orca.
Oh, without a doubt. I totally agree. Gary, thank you very much. That was Gary Ryan's wish list for every single team in the league, including the Motor City Rockers, which I blew right past and forgot. I was looking at one of the standings lists, so I was trying to go backwards that way, which I failed miserably on. But you did not. You did very good. Gary, thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you and your family. To everybody out there. I know it's a few days away. We're posting this one on Monday night, and we got another one coming out with a very special guest on Wednesday, which is very cool. So, but Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you. And the same to you and your wife, and to everyone that's listening. I just want to wish that this is the best Christmas holiday season ever for you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. He is Gary Ryan of the Fed League Flash. You can check him out on YouTube, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. He does recaps of the games and, of course, his news and notes. And then you can check out, obviously, the Fed League Flash all over Facebook because he, like myself, he posts all over Facebook with it. So he is Gary Ryan, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Gary Ryan from the Fed League Flash giving us his wish list, Christmas wish list for every single team in the FPHL, including the Motor City Rockers, which we do expect to be back next year, which will make the Michigan trips a little bit better. Being able to go out to, maybe Motor City on Friday night and then do obviously Port Huron on Saturday night instead of doing the 2-and-2s type of thing. Which would be kind of good. Taylor, let's get into Saturday's game because, man, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to Saturday.
Black Bears offense opens up on Danbury with 11 goals. December 20th, 2025, Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, game 23 of the season. Danbury Hat tricks at Binghamton Black Bears. First period, the Black Bears' first goal of the game came at the 6:56 mark off a strange bounce, which was a shot sent in from CJ Stubbs, scoring his 16th goal of the season. Just 25 seconds later, the Black Bears get their second goal of the game, Mac Jansen's 17th of the season, making this a 2-0 game. The Hat Tricks get their first goal of the game with 5:49 left to go in the period, making this a 2-1 game off the stick of Alexander Legkoff.
So if you think about it, CJ Stubbs also has had the first goal of the game, too.
He's just got to get in Michigan now. I don't know what else what other kind of goals there are.
I know, or maybe like skating on his head or something and then scoring a goal. I'm
sure Tyson maybe picks on him like, hey, I scored one off my butt. When are you going to do?
Yeah, no kidding. What about, we'll talk about Kyle Steffen and his kind of theatrics as well from goals. All right, scratches in this game was Wyatt Friedlander, Chichu Laughlin, who was home on personal leave, Emerson Emery, and of course Jacob Shankar is on the IR. Starters in this game was Tyson Kirkby, CJ Stubbs, Ivan Bondarenko, Austin Dorazio, who was back obviously from suspension, Dan Stone, and Connor McAnanima. The hat trick started Sebastian Rizar and scratched the Friday night starter Kyle Penton. And you said to me you were surprised on this.
Yeah, it didn't really logically make any kind of sense to me. Penton, they did lose. It was 4-2, and one of them was an empty net, so you can't really put that on him.
Yeah.
But he seemed to have a better stance against the Black Bears than Rizar did. And obviously, you can put Rizar in all you want because the fans, they have a great time with that. But it definitely shocked me that, Penton had, in my opinion, a really good game Friday. And then you don't even dress him the next day. Unless if he got injured, that's, understandable. You don't want to, do anything to make that worse.
Right.
But if he's not injured, to do that was just absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was kind of surprised because you know what? You're trying to build some sort of momentum, right? Maybe the momentum is that you don't lose a game 8-3, right? Because the last game that they played against them, it was an 8-3 loss. And then you go in, you bring in Kyle Penton. He only gives up 3 goals. And then there's the empty netter. You're thinking, at least in my eyes, it's like, well, that's the hot goalie for us, right? So let's bring him back and play him. Instead, you bring Sebastian in. Now, don't get us wrong. We don't think Sebastian Rizar is a bad goalie, right? He's also getting his ass beat by the Binghamton Black Bears, the best team in the FPHL. So there's that. But Kyle Penton seemed to have in maybe what is considered a lackluster game a little bit by both teams, maybe, right? he still played pretty good. So why not start him the next game? I agree with you. It's an odd one. Doesn't make sense to me. But the Black Bears, they did get a quick 2 goals in the period, just 25 seconds apart from each other. And like they have in many games this season, take a 2-0 lead. The Alexander Legoff was all skill. That goal was just beautiful, Taylor. I'm telling you right now, it happened right in front of me. I don't care who's in as a goaltender. You might be 8 out of 10 goaltenders with that move that he did, the shot he took on C-Mac there. There is a reason why Lekoff is the leader in the team, the leader in the league, one of the leaders in the league for scoring. He is really good, and he showed it off there. The Black Bears are leaving a little too much room in front of C-Mac, and he had to control a lot of the rebound chances. That's the other thing I noticed. We scored 11 goals, but C-Mac had to play a lot of the rebound game with the hat tricks and trying to get the rebounds and stop them. And the Black Bears were having a hard time defensively keeping those rebounds and pushing them out. And C-Mac had to do a lot of work in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I get C-Mac credit for is he's very good at his, controlling that kind of stuff and just playing the puck in general. It's not something that every goaltender is the strongest in, or they just don't do it. I always make a comment about like the difference between C-Mac and Tomei is if Danbury's going for a line change, C-Mac will just shoot that puck down the ice. It doesn't matter if D'Orazio's coming at him to get the puck. He's shooting it down to the guy that's open at the blue line. Yep. Where Tomei kind of just, he'll wait for D'Orazio to come down and pick up the puck. But C-Mac definitely, he knows how to control the rebounds. And part of me wonders if that's just kind of like, he wants to see more of it. Like he wants to be able to control more of it happening in front of him.
Sure.
I don't know that part of it. Cause I had made a comment in my impact players about watching the defense kind of stand to the side of him. Especially when it comes to, penalty kills or anything like that. They're not standing directly in front of him to kind of get that guy out of his way. And I don't know if that's part of it or if they just were really having a hard time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know the Black Bears, after one period, had the lead in shots, but they need to control a little bit more of the play in front of C-Mac. Power play opportunities, Binghamton 0 for 0, and Danbury was 0 for 1. Shots on goal, Binghamton 18, Danbury 15, and that's a lot of shots on goal for C-Mac or for any of our goaltenders to see in just one period.
Yeah, because usually that's what they see in like the entire game most of the time.
Sometimes, yes, absolutely. All right, let's go into the second period.
Jesse Anderson, who got robbed in Friday night, scored the Black Bears' third goal, just 1:48 into the middle period, making this a 3-1 Black Bears lead. The Hat Tricks then scored their second goal of the game, 6:46 into the period, off the stick of Anton Rubstoff. Kyle Steffen scored his second goal of the season, making this a 4-2 game with 7:59 left to go on the period. The long-awaited first goal for Garrett Sargis came with 3:49 left to go in the period, making this a 5-2 game. With 1 second to go in the power play, Austin D'Orazio scores the Black Bears' sixth goal of the game with 1:29 left to go, making this a 6-2 game.
Now, there's two goals that we really need to. Well, I mean, I know we could talk about Garrett Sargis. It was great that he got on the score sheet. But the first goal that I really think we should talk about is Kyle Steffen. He makes a great play. He's falling down. He scores the goal as he's falling down. He gets back up, and then he goes to celebrate, falls back down again. I will tell you this right now, fans. It may have seemed a little comical. People might have gone, "Oh my God, look at that!" Like maybe had a little chuckle. Kyle told me after the game that hurt. That hurt. It's that simple. You're not falling down on a couch or a rug or even the grass outside. No, you're falling down on ice, and it still hurt. But the excitement that Kyle had, it just kind of caused that incident a little bit. And then, of course, the Austin D'Orazio situation was this. There's a penalty called. We go on the power play, and then, or actually, there was a penalty on Danbury. We go on the penalty kill. 9 seconds into that penalty kill, they commit a penalty, which means we're going to have 9 seconds on the back end for a power play, right? The power play ends the 4-on-4 ends, and then we get a 9-second power play. And what is Austin D'Orazio, the best offensive defenseman in this league right now today? And Brant Sherwood thinks the same thing. You and I both think it. A lot of people think it. He scores a power play goal with 1 second left to go in the power play.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. But I mean, the play leading up to that was, also interesting. I know that the whole Razar thing kind of got a little, got some fans riled up.
Yeah.
When he went after him. Well, I know that's where I kind of started really paying attention and trying to see if Razar was going to do something even more crazy after that.
Right.
But D'Orazio definitely, he's got this fire about him that there's like no words for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's almost like, like CJ Stubbs has been scoring, these goals that really make an impact and make a difference to the game. And D'Orazio has that way of doing almost the same thing, but as a D-man.
Yeah. No, I can tell you right now, there's a conversation that, people will be able to hear as we're getting near to the end of the episode here. We do have Brant Sherwood on Christmas Eve. You will hear an interview with him. I said that CJ Stubbs was the MVP of this team through the first half of the season. And he said, Bob, Austin D'Orazio on the back end, on the blue line, is the MVP of this team this year. So, you guys will hear that obviously in a couple days, but very, very, very interesting. But let's get into this. All right. Great to see Jesse Anderson score on Saturday night after the goal was wrongfully disallowed on Friday night, a missed penalty call. Tonight, he had a beauty that could not be questioned. Many people were waiting for Garrett Sargis to get his first goal, and while he lingered in the low slot, he was able to get his first in style. Kyle Steffen's goal was a great goal as he was falling to the ice, but then he went to celebrate and fell again. Sometimes teams on the top have a comical moment like Steph had there, but it did hurt, so we're not going to laugh too much, okay? So the D'Orazio goal was interesting. With 1 second left to go on the power play, he was taken down to the ice, a holding call, but then Razar went after him. That part is the part you're talking about there, where Razar, as D'Orazio is taken down on the ice, and this is the beginning of what we're leading up to with the scoring the goal with 1 second left. Razar goes down and like pushes him down even more. Almost to the point where you almost could have called a roughing call on Razar, which wasn't called. It's amazing how if you just sniff a goaltender, they're going to call you on that. But if a goaltender does something, they don't call it at all.
Yeah, I think that's why like the fans definitely started to get a little crazy about it, especially when it was up on the replay.
Yeah. Because
D'Orazio was already down. He was literally sliding past the goaltender, and Razar literally turns and spins himself and then just shoves him.
Yeah.
And like there was absolutely that was not necessary by any means. D'Orazio wasn't anywhere near Razar. He wasn't taken down by Razar. He didn't do anything to Razar. He was taken down by somebody else, and Razar still came out of the crease and shoved him even more, which made absolutely no sense. And this is why like Tyson went after him for that reason. And of course, Tyson ended up with a call. Shocker. But that whole sequence was just so interesting, and how Razar didn't get anything. Because at first I thought they were going to tag him with something, and then they didn't. Yeah,
but then when the power play was ending, so this is the end of the sequence, after everybody goes into the box, and I think Tyson comes out, D-Raz gets the man-up goal. You only see a sequence like this in a movie script or in Binghamton Ice, I guess. I mean, it's just crazy how Razar is the one that's taken, or D-Raz is the one that's taken down, and it was by Legoff. I remember Legoff taking him down, and maybe he was trying to save a goal, and I thought initially it was going to be a penalty shot, right? Because D'Orazio had the puck. He was coming in. He was definitely going to be taking the shot, or he was in the middle of taking the shot. He gets taken down. Razar gets on top of him. They go into the penalty box. Everybody comes back out, and just before the last Danbury guy came out, boom, there's the power play goal. And it's like a script. Like you can't write something like that. I don't know. It was just kind of crazy in that sense. So the Black Bears have another 4-goal period, and to be honest, I don't see how this team is stopped over the next month. I really don't. Taylor, tell me I'm wrong.
I can't do that.
Okay. At the end of the period, there was some commotion that may have been started by Razar and his water bottle, which will see Dan Weber and Noah Robinson in the penalty box to start the third period. Now, you make a great point when we were talking before we even started recording that you believe that Razar was just probably doing what most goaltenders do, which is sending the water bottle over to their bench. And because he has to cross the center ice, maybe a Black Bear took it as he was throwing it at them or something.
Yeah, I've seen it so many times this season alone from like other fan bases. They've posted, it's been all over the Uncensored page about these other goaltenders when they're losing and they're chucking their water bottles everywhere. And I'm like, if you watch the first period, for instance, when the sound goes off and the period's over, it takes his water bottle, chucks it towards the bench. It, takes its time rolling over there so the guy can fill it up and put it back on his net.
Right.
To me, it's a very normal thing. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't see it happen because it was down on the other end. All I saw was the commotion that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe he hit somebody with the water bottle. I don't know if it was intentional, unintentional. I don't know. But in my opinion, I don't think there was any ill will against him doing that with his water bottle because he does it after every period.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knew he wasn't coming in for the next period. Maybe he was a little salty. I don't know. He was shaking his head for pretty much the rest of the game, sitting in the backup spot. He wasn't a very happy camper. But to me, the water bottle thing, I don't know. It just seems silly. I don't think it was anything intentional, but I don't know.
All right. Power play opportunities in the second period. Binghamton 1 for 4 and Danbury 0 for 1. Shots on goal. Binghamton 15, Danbury 16 totals were Binghamton 33 and Danbury 31. Let's get into the third period, which was just a precursor it's just like Binghamton was just waiting for the third period today.
Well, actually, before we get into the third period, I was going to say this about Durazio, and I completely forgot. When the first goal was scored, Durazio had skated in, and I don't know if he was saying it to Razar or if he was saying it to Newberg, but he said something, and I don't know if he said something about I had a hat trick or something along those lines the last time we played you. But whatever he said definitely got in the head of Newberg because he wasn't very happy about it afterwards, and he tried to go skate towards Durazio, but it was a really funny moment that I caught at the very beginning of the game because we had scored, fairly early.
Yeah.
And Durazio was definitely trying to get in Razar's head then.
That's nice. Either, and of course, Josh Newberg is going to stick up for his goalie, but obviously didn't stick up for his goalie enough there because of what happened. So let's get into the third period.
Third period, Dan Stone took a rare tripping penalty, and Johnny Ruiz made the Black Bears pay with their third goal of the game, just 1:04 into the period. With Austin Pickford in the box for high sticking, Austin Durazio scored his second power play goal of the game at 5:52 mark of the final period. Garrett Sargis scored his second goal of the game and season at the 7:41 mark before Tyson Kirkby scored his seventh goal of the season on the power play just 42 seconds later, making this a 9-3 contest. Oof. Then Connor McAnanama dumped the puck to Dan Weber, who sent it all the way down the ice to Nick Swain, who then undressed a Danbury defender before scoring an amazing goal to make this a 10-3 game at the 8:56 mark of the third period. The scoring was not done as Zach Sirota scored the Black Bears' 11th goal of the game with 4:06 left to go, making this an 11-3 win for the Black Bears.
All right, so tell us what you saw when it came to Nick Swain.
I didn't even care if he scored on that because the move that got the Danbury defender to completely lose his edge and just go down was it was a highlight for me. And then he goes and scores was just like the icing on top of a cake. It was glorious. It definitely ranks right up there with Tyson Kirkby scoring on his butt. That definitely. If that had happened in the beginning of the game, I don't even know what would have happened. But the crowd was so excited for that. And I don't think it could have gotten any better than that.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, listen, as good as Legoff's goal was earlier in the game. This was just outstanding. I stood up in the press box when I saw that happening. As it was happening, I was in the middle of standing up, not because I was stretching my legs. That's just what it did to me up there, seeing a player make that move like he did. And then not only did he make a move to beat Fennell, and Fennell falls down, but then he makes another move to make Wong, who was the goalie, in for Rosar, because Rosar got pulled after 40 minutes. He makes Wong kind of go the wrong way and then scores the goal. It was just like Nick Swain just turned on a switch in the last 3 games and said, I'm playing freaking hockey now on the best team in the league, and I'm going to try to be one of the best players on that team. And he just, that goal there, the 4 goals from the Teddy Bear toss game, amazing, very happy for him. And man, when that kid is happy and he smiles, I think people in Johnson City saw the smile.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he's finding his own path here in Binghamton, and it's so awesome to watch it kind of unfolding, as literally right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
It almost makes you wonder, like, if he goes into that locker room and just sees, you got Tyson Kirkby and Gavin Yates and these guys in there, and you just wonder if it just makes him go, I'm going to go out there and show him up. Like, I'm going to do something to really make the crowd stand up and cheer for me, kind of a thing.
And if you think about it, that's exactly what Brant Sherwood and Coach Q want. They want these guys who are maybe on the third line or the 10 forward. They want them to go out and have that drive to not show up in a negative way, Tyson Kirkby or Gavin Yates or CJ Stubbs, but to go out there and to produce, have a little bit of confidence, have a little bit of swagger. And it looks like that it's worked for Nick Swain for sure.
Yeah, and definitely, like, the whole, speaking of the third line kind of thing, to have a team where you can be like, well, our third line won the game for us tonight, or, to be able to make comments along those lines and be like, literally any person on our team can get a point or get a goal or score from anywhere. It's just not a lot of teams can say that. Yeah. And I think that's just something that's really impressive about Binghamton, and why I do think it's going to be so hard for somebody to come in and beat us at least consecutively. I don't think anybody can beat us twice in a row.
No, and it hasn't happened in well over a year. Johnny Rees now has 3 goals this weekend versus the Black Bears, which is about the only highlight for the Hat-Tricks, who have now lost 15 straight games to the Black Bears going back to last season. The Black Bears, 2 goals in the first 4 in the second period, and then 5 in the third period. They were 3 for 6 on the power play, 1 for 5 on the penalty kill. Garrett Sargis now has 2 goals in the seasons, but no fights. Okay, all right. We'll let that go now. Nick Swain. What a way to break out. 4 goals on Teddy Bear toss night, and then undressing he did on the Hat-Tricks netminder tonight was just plain sick. On the Swain goal, C-Mac did dump the puck to Dan Weber. Dan Weber, who then sent the puck down the offensive zone, blue line, where Nick Swain picked it up. However, the league did not credit Weber with the assist, which makes no sense at all to me, or to Taylor, or to Brant Sherwood, or anybody else who was watching the freaking game. I know the off-ice officials said they changed it and gave it to Weber, the primary assist, but the league has not changed it. Why does that matter? Well, what kills me about it is that the league website never has the power plays correct either. That's an important now, but correct stat keeping is important. Essentially, every player for the Binghamton Black Bears who touched the ice, including C-Mac, should have had a point on Saturday night. I don't know why stat keeping is such an issue in this league, but it is. It kills me because that's a perfect score sheet. A perfect score sheet in hockey is when every player has a point, including the goaltender. It doesn't happen often. It should have happened on Saturday night. I wish it was fixed. I know Frank Perney told me they put it in there. It never showed up, and I don't know why. It's unfortunate. But Dan, you had a freaking primary assist on that. You know you did. We all know you did. And what a game for the Black Bears.
Yeah, I mean, the fans that were still sticking around to hear the 3 stars of the game, they announced it before the 3 stars of the game that they gave him the primary assist. So
never showed up.
definitely knew that he had a point in the game, but to go on the league site and see that he's got zeros across the score sheet there was definitely disappointing.
Yeah. All right, the Black Bears are rolling. They are the best team in single A hockey, period. They have now won 12 in a row, 9 straight this season against the Hat Tricks, and and are the first team to 60 points with 61 points. They're 21-2-0 right now through 23 games. At this point, blowing away what they did last season. It's insane to think about how good they have been and how good they still probably could become. The team is taking the week off, spending time with family and loved ones. They will not hit the ice again until Friday after Christmas, when they will have a morning skate at the arena before going into Watertown to face off against the Wolves in 2 games, Friday and Saturday. Power play opportunities, Binghamton was 2 for 3 and Danbury was 0 for 2. Shots on goal, Binghamton 12, Danbury 9. A total of Binghamton 45, and probably the most all this season against the Black Bears. Danbury had 40 shots on goal. Taylor, let's wrap this one up with a bowl.
Black Bears score 11 goals, win 12th in a row. Austin Durazio scored 2 goals, both on the power play, and assisted on 2 goals for a 4-point night. Jesse Anderson scored his 3rd goal of the season and assisted on 3 for a 4-point night. Gavin Yates assisted on 3 goals. Zach Sirota scored his 5th goal of the season, assisted on 2 for a 3-point night. Garrett Sargis scored his 1st and 2nd goals of the season and assisted on 1 goal for a 3-point night. Nick Swain scored his 7th goal of the season and assisted on 2 for a 3-point night. CJ Stubbs scored his 16th goal of the season and assisted on 2 for a 3-point night. Mac Jansen scored his 17th goal. Tyson Kirkby scored his 7th goal, and Kyle Steffen scored his 2nd of the season to round out the scoring. Connor McAnanama saved 37 of 40 shots, earning his 11th win of the season, improving to 11-1-0 and winning his 7th start in a row. The Black Bears winning streak improves to 12 straight. The Black Bears improved to 21-2-0 with 61 points and remain atop the Empire Division.
Whew. Do you need some oxygen after all that?
I feel like every game we talk about, there's 10 people that have a 3-point night.
Well,
it seems like I say 3 a lot in these weekend wrap-ups.
I think if you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there were 7 people with either 3 points or more in that game. And yeah,
I also just realized that when we did the end of the Friday one, I said improved to 18-2-0. And we somehow jumped 3 games.
Yeah, that's the way I'm writing things.
I just realized that after I said it out loud. I was like, well, didn't we just say 18? Which you had that issue on Saturday night. You kept saying 18 then too. 18's just on your mind, apparently.
We've played 23 games, right?
Well, the Friday night wrap up, it was 18-2-0, and now we're 21-2-0.
I know. I got myself way twisted around. We are 19. No, we're 21-2. We've played 23 games. Apparently, I'm just an idiot. Yeah, 21-2. Yeah, we're 21-2 with 61 points. All right. I think we're going to pack it up for there. I think we're done for the night. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, and Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob LaPaulis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Fed League Flash, Gary Ryan. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you very shortly, very soon, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.